Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros MLB. This is Leading Off Live. It is me, Joey P. Joe Pizzapia. That, of course, is the Welsh one brought to you by PrizePicks. Sign up for PrizePicks today and use that promo code Leading Off when you do. We got a lot of Major League Baseball to talk about, but Welsh, you seem to have your attention elsewhere. It looks like you're going back to college because some of the college baseball that's happening today, you're very excited about because these are some of the big prospects that we're going to be seen getting drafted, I would say, in the weeks ahead.
Yeah, I'm actually very fresh coming off of the MLB Draft Combine, which was yesterday. And one of the guys that's going to be pitching today, Paul Skeens, some view as the #1 overall pick, a generational talent since Steven Strasburg. He was supposed to be at the Combine. He was not because he's going to be pitching in kind of a big game today. Might be the most exciting college baseball game in God knows how long. This is elimination time for the College World Series, and it's LSU versus Wake Forest. Wake Forest has a pitcher named Rhett Lauder, who's going to probably be a top 10 pick. You've got Paul Skeens, who's going to be 1 or 2. You've got Dylan Cruz, who's going to be 1 or 2. They've also got Trey Morgan. There's a lot of draft prospects in here. Two of the best pitching. This is the best pitching matchup I could possibly think of. And I am just scratching and clawing, trying to figure out what is the betting edge here. I want to take LSU money line. I actually did it just the other day when they went up against Tennessee. But that money line is juiced. But they want you to take the 2 runs, man. Plus money on 2 runs for LSU. But either way, whether you're betting or not, or you're not even a big draft guy, just heads up, go pay attention. This is a huge,
What
huge
time is
college
that
game.
by the way?
4 p.m. my time, so 7 p.m. Eastern, I believe it is.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, on
Can't wait for the
ESPN
dink
stuff.
of the bat for that college baseball game.
Bink!
Love bink,
Yeah.
bink, stink. Yeah, you know, it's funny. I grew up with wooden bats. Like, my first memory of Little League in the 80s was wooden bats. And then some point you got you got your Easton, you got your TPX back in high school, you thought you were cool stuff there. But I still like the wood bat. I don't know what's something about the wood bat.
I remember the very, very first time I ever swung a wood bat. My best friend at that time, his brother had just gotten a wood bat, and they were super excited about it. So me and him, we went out to the little field. He threw a pitch. I swung, immediately broke the bat. I just shattered it in half with how he
so
threw it, and
powerful.
I hit it. Yeah, it's because of muscles. And shattered it, and we were devastated, and his brother probably beat us both up or something. But that was the first. That was the first.
All right, let's get back to Major League Baseball and talk about the headline. Shohei Ohtani, he's good at baseball. 12 strikeouts over 7 innings, but they lost to the Dodgers. So there you have it. Gavin Williams took a no decision yesterday. He gave up 4 runs in 5 2/3 in his Major League debut for the Guardians. Again, we thought it was a good start, potentially, for him against the A's. I warned everybody, don't go there in the DFS world or the betting world. Just kind of step back, watch what the kid did. What did you think of the Gavin Williams start last night?
Yeah, I wasn't as blah as a lot of people were because there weren't big swing and misses, and he had a bad inning. It was the 3rd inning. It was the bad inning. Gave up like a 3-run homer, gave up the runs, but he was composed. There were just command issues, and I'm kind of okay with it. He didn't have the curveball. The curveball looks like, at least off of his last couple minor league starts, has been the #2 used pitched, or at least the usage overall is close to the slider. He only threw it 13% of the time last night because he didn't have it. And that, I think, led to a bigger issue with some of the overall command issues. The slider was breaking a little too early, so he wasn't getting big swings. And then the fastball, it was just moving around. So here's what I'm saying. I actually thought he was relatively composed while giving up those runs and coming out and then setting down 8 straight. I'm okay with the command being a little bit wonky because I think the stuff is great. Had a 26 mile an hour difference between the lowest pitch thrown and the highest pitch thrown.
crazy.
Hit 98 and threw a 72 mile an hour curveball. The command will get back there. It's his first start. I still think he's the best of the crew.
Yeah. The nerves, the adrenaline, all that stuff. Let the kid settle down. Let the kid settle in. CJ Abrams, he's a kid. He settled in yesterday, 3 for 3 with a solo homer. He's still 22 years old, and I think a lot of us forget that about CJ Abrams. We kind of take that for granted when it comes to him. Not a good season for him. He's hitting 230, 395 slugging, 277 OBP. So it's not been a positive year for him. He was one of these guys that we speculated, hey, late in drafts, you take a shot. You see, maybe you get 15-15. Now, ironically, he's got 7 homers and he's got 7 steals. So we weren't wrong about that because he's on pace for exactly a 15-15 season right now. So in some ways we were right, but basically so far it's been wrong for CJ Abrams. The question is, do we need to remind ourselves that he's only 22, and do we need to remind ourselves that there's still room for him to grow despite the fact this is a bad Washington Nationals team? Is he a player that we have hope for figuring things out in the second half?
Oh, okay. So I was going to take it a different angle. Like in Dynasty, yeah, I think we can kind of consider that. Second half, I don't know. I think he's still kind of far off. I saw him more as like a 10 to 15 homer, but more aggressive stolen bases. Surprisingly enough, I mean, this used to be the fastest guy I'd ever seen in the minors. He's just around the top 20% in the league as far as sprint speed. I just don't think the aggressiveness has been there. He doesn't barrel. He doesn't hit the ball hard. He doesn't walk. All of those things are bad. Those three are like a bad recipe. You don't walk, you don't barrel, you don't hit the ball hard. So you've got to do a whole lot of other stuff to make it happen, and he doesn't. And or what he does is at a very low clip. So yes, he's 22. Yes, this process is still going. Can this work out? Yes. Just I don't think it's this year. I think this is more of a dynasty thing of like if you had the ability to hold, I think he becomes really more interesting as he hits like 23, 24. Does he hit for more power? Does he become more aggressive on the base paths? But he's got to change a few things because, those low barrel, low hard hit guys don't really do too well when the average also stinks and they're not running. They're not aggressively running. And just pointing out, too, his XBA is around 230. So it's right in line with your batting average. If you were a 290 hitter, 280 hitter doing this would probably be a different discussion.
It would be. I'd like to see him just put the ball in play more, take better at-bats. I think that's what you're looking for. But it is interesting to say that, that 15-15 projection that we put on him, it's actually on the pace, which all things considered is crazy when you look at how, Ice Blue, I think somebody said, is the savant page for him.
I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it.
That's true here.
It's not pretty. Like he's got a good, nice max EV hit. That's the only thing that stands out because he hit 112, but he's got a wretchedly low bottom 7% of the league average exit velocity, which a lot of people don't focus on because it's like, okay, that's not sticky or whatever, but you put it together with like all the other stuff and it just tells this really like not great story about a player that isn't showing any signs of like big growth why we would want to go buy in.
Speaking of Ice Blue, everyone says that my blue steel look is back today. And I just keep telling everyone, that's my normal face. I have resting blue steel face. That's just
I have a resting face
Zoolander.
Too. It's just not the blue one.
Yeah, mine is resting blue steel. That's what I do. Pete Alonso, 2-run homer. But the Mets lose, so there you go. That feels like the general note. You just got to put that out there for every Mets game. Pete Alonso hits a home run, and the Mets lose. Andrew Abbott struck out 10 guys, 3 runs. All of the 3 runs, though, were solo homers. Wednesday's no decision against the Rockies. Corbin Carroll, he stole 2 more bases, which makes me and the Welsh happy. Let's talk about the closer situation here. 4th save of the season for Scott Magoo. Am I saying it right, by the way?
It's McGuff.
No. I think it's Magoo.
I mean, I'm fine with Magoo. Sometimes he's a little blind, so
it sounds like in Billy Madison, when he's like when he sees his friend who accidentally wet his pants and he goes, "Goo! I want to call him Scott Magoo." I think that's what I'm going to do. So is he the new closer, quote unquote?
No.
For the Diamondbacks?
No, they do that. This has been the entire season. We did this on CBS last night, and Frank had kind of asked the same thing of like, is this it? But he's asked that question to all of the guys because there is no guy. They're inconsistent. Lovello loves to ride the hot hand until it implodes. And McGuff was a disaster early on. They've gone Chafin. They've gone Castro. I could be wrong here. Maybe things have settled in. McGuff is obviously coming over from Japan and just kind of readjusting. I think he's doing the classic. He's throwing the splitter thing, and it's been good as of recent. But I've seen him be pretty inconsistent, and I just don't. I'm not sold that the Diamondbacks guy is on that roster. Or I'd also throw out this. This is what I'm waiting for. Is they've already confirmed that it's too late for Dre Jameson to go back to being a starter. I wonder if there's a point, if these guys struggle, that Dre starts getting an opportunity. And I think he's a guy that holds on to it. But McGuff is getting saves. Hold on to him. It'll be good until they go to Andrew Chafin, and then they keep going to him. And McGuff is just part of this big, nasty thing.
I mean, if they were smart, they'd go out there and make a move for a closer.
Zach
Gallen. Welsh was right. I was wrong. Zach Gallen, 1 run over 7 innings. Julio Teheran was 5 scoreless though.
So I got my money line
there.
play. Someone pointed out in the chat, they're like, hey, Welsh has got 2 units on Diamondbacks money line. I'm like, I do, and they won 5-1.
And you did it, and I was on the other. I continue to be ice cold this week. I need a week off. I need to just kind of clear my head on the weekend and just figure things out from there. The rookie Lookie, Gunnar Henderson, by the way, 2 for 5, hit his 11th homer. All of a sudden, those early Gunnar Henderson shares that I had rookie of the year, and I had that duo wager, that big one where it was Corbin Carroll and Gunnar Henderson.
That's such a cool one that you did.
It's starting to come back to life. There's still life in that bet now, all of a sudden, which tells you something. And I think if you go back and look at the last couple of years, you go back to pandemic year when it was Gavin Lux, who was the odds-on favorite for rookie of the year, and he was just bottomed out completely in the pandemic season. If you go back and look at this year's board when Anthony Volpe made the team and skyrocketed to the top of the American League board, Rookie of the Year is one typically to wait on. This is about the time where you can start to make your move on Rookie of the Year. Corbin Carroll was the exception to the rule, and I just want to remind everybody, that is the trickiest of all of the awards, in my opinion, to bet on, and I am Joey. Maybe you should call me Joey Futures. I like that. I am Joey Futures, after all, and I'm going to give myself that nickname, but that's the one to me that's always the trickiest. Carroll was lock it in, money in the bank, let's go. No hedge, none of that. But it's funny, Gunnar Henderson's starting to, if you want to put like a little speculative $10 here, whatever it is, that's fine. But it feels like Gunnar Henderson's getting back in this race, which makes me happy.
You know what I like? I feel like the last couple of years, maybe I'm just thinking to last year, is it's like one of the sides, the NL or AL, locks itself up. And then there's a race. Because last year, the race actually became around teammates, Michael Harris and Spencer Strider, where Julio had the thing
neither of those guys were
up.
close to the favorites going in last year.
Neither
it
broke.
Was Oniel Cruz was out at the top of that list. I'm trying to remember who else was at the top of that list at that time. You probably remember.
Yeah, there's someone. No, there's someone ridiculous.
Cruz was up there. Cruz was very high in that conversation early on, but there was somebody else. Was it Seiya Suzuki? Seiya Suzuki was the hot guy early on, which I told everybody don't even go near that. Don't invest in that. That's ridiculous. So
yeah, I like it, but like this year, like Corbin's got that relatively locked up, and locked up as long as nothing happens. This one just keeps moving. By the way, on Gunner's still absolutely wretched against lefties. He's doing all of his damage against righties. He's becoming like a Josh Lowe platoon. 252 against righties. All 11 homers have come in that spot. He was down to 190. He hit 197 in April, 213 in May. He's up to 358 in the month of June, and over half of his homers have come from this month. So you can see how much he's picked it up. Plus the hard hit numbers look awesome.
I think the confidence is good too. You start to hit the ball against righties, maybe that carries over a little bit. And if you notice, Josh Young's been ice cold this week. Ice cold. We'll talk about him in the 3 down 2 days in a row. That hasn't happened all year. Cousin Donnie says I can't give myself a nickname. I mean, why not? I feel like I can. I think I just did.
You can. I only had. I'm trying. How many nicknames did you have growing up?
I really had none.
No
to
nicknames?
be honest, no, not really.
That's sad. That's why he wants a nickname, guys. He's trying to give himself one.
No, don't encourage the peanuts.
I think you know what? I think we should run it. Let's see the best Joe Pisapia nicknames, and then we can run a poll. I only had like one nickname throughout, but we also did. Bogman called me Hollywood. No, we can't. Hollywood. Yeah. He called me that because I had a lot going on all the time. I like different groups of people calling everything, so that was his nickname for me.
Wow.
But we also did the
cool
last
sunglasses and take lunch at Spago and things like that.
I mean, when I was in high school, I had like the tipped hair.
Oh, did you have the Sugar Ray tips? Is that what you had?
Oh yeah. I went full bleach blonde. I had this guy call me David Flair. He thought I was David Flair's son.
Every morning when a Welsh wakes up.
All right, but let's get. All right, so we're getting them. We're getting nicknames. So I want to see the best Joey nicknames.
Stugotz. No, that's good.
Pizza Pensa. Okay, JP Smooth.
These suck.
Joe Cool.
No.
All right.
No, that's not cool.
Let's try a little bit harder, guys.
Come on, guys. I told you. Don't even put it now.
This is a guy that's never had a nickname. This guy, he needs a nickname.
No, I really
you can see it on. I can see it on your face. This is important.
I don't know if it's important.
This is important.
Anyway, very little injuries. This is the least amount of injuries we've ever talked about here on the program all season long. So I guess that's a good thing, but it worries the hell out of me of what tomorrow's going to look like.
Yep.
Mike Yastrzemski was removed yesterday with a hamstring tightness. Gio Urshela has a pelvis issue. That does not sound good. He's going to miss the rest of the season. He is done. And ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow night, Kenta Maeda returns to the mound. Welsh, Kenta Maeda returns to the mound. How do you feel about that?
I'm very excited. He's a great exciting pitcher. I'm going to watch him. Kenta Maeda specifically on the Twins.
Yes.
Not anywhere else. Yes.
Nope.
I'll watch him. I'm excited.
There you go. Mr. Clean Future is not bad. That's not bad.
Sparky.
Joey Futures actually sounds pretty
Joey
good.
Futures actually pretty
It's actually
good.
not a bad nickname, okay?
Look at Brett. By the way, happy birthday, Brett. Brett said his birthday was today. I like Brett's nickname for you.
Oh, God. All right, let's get to the 3 up and 3 down. Randy Arozarena, man, has that guy been good. Oh, he was so undervalued this year. 3 for 3 with a homer and a double, 2 RBIs. He had a walk, everything. He did everything yesterday, except take out the trash.
And you
Josh
want to know what?
Naylor.
Well, hold on, before you go, I just want to point
Yeah.
out, I did put him in the trade video because he was only hitting 240 over the last, I think it was 2 weeks or month, and
made
just
a
wanted
trade
to
for
point
him.
out
Congratulations.
his homers came down, his stolen bases were up. I laid it out a couple days ago whenever that released, so I don't know, that's pretty good timing.
Josh Naylor, 4 for 4, solo homer, and 295, 338, 464 slash 9 homers, 55 ribbies, 26 runs scored. He was one of the favorites by a lot of people I know coming into draft season. A lot of people thought there was value with Josh Naylor. I think Ariel Cohen, I want to say, too. That was one of his favorite value guys late. So far, Josh Naylor's been pretty good. I feel like Cleveland's going to make a run here. I really do. It feels like that offense was so bad. I know the Shane Bieber, noise is going on there, but they're in striking distance in that Central. I'm starting to feel like Cleveland's starting to, I don't know, they bring up Bowden, they've got Josh Naylor, I would not be surprised if they decide, you know what, we're in this thing. Let's not jump ship here. I starting to feel like now's a good time to even wager on them. You see, they're in plus money. They're at plus 250 on Betting Pros right now to win that division. I kind of like that right now. I got to be honest with you.
Also want to point out, I'm pretty sure I did it on this show, but there was somebody that when the Luis Arise fantasy conversations were coming up, I said I'd rather have Josh Naylor than Arise in fantasy right now. So I just got to throw it back at you. What do you think? Josh Naylor or Luis Arise? Not points leagues. Which one would you rather have?
But it's
Luis Arise. Oh, you'd rather have 400 batting average with nothing else?
Yeah, I think I would. Speaking of guys who do all or nothing, it's or one thing really well. Esteury Ruiz, 3 for 5, run scored, 2 ribbies, and stole his league leading 38th and 39th base. So congratulations, Ruiz. Good job there. Josh Young. I got to get to these bats, Walsh, because Josh Young, 0 for 4 4Ks. Yesterday, also bad, 4Ks. What is going on here with Josh Young? This is not good. This is a very rough patch. I'm telling you, the Gunnar Henderson shares right now, this is the time to maybe get in the Gunnar business. I never thought Yoshida was going to win that award. I don't know why. It just did not pop for me.
You still don't think Yoshida can't do that? I mean, the Red Sox are getting hot, and
I think
let me look at where Yoshida's hitting over 300. His counting stats don't look amazing.
That's the problem. The counting stats are blah.
But I mean, he's going to have
if Gunnar Henderson picks things up, has a big second half, I think that's all anybody remembers. That's all
I think what's interesting too, he was actually asked about that, and Yoshida was, and I think as long as I read the article correctly, but it was something along the lines of he was almost like, I don't want to say he didn't deserve it, but he probably shouldn't be in the voting because he's a different type of player. Because he is a completely different type of player. But I wouldn't discount him. I think Josh Young is taking the biggest smack. The quietest assassin of all of them is still Hunter Brown. He's still the guy I think everyone should be very worried about. But yeah, I mean, Gunnar is flying up there. I think it's a great bet. You said it a couple days ago, and the Hunter bet is a great. Joey Futures. I think you actually just may have given yourself the nickname contrary to what Donnie wants here. Joey Futures might be the name.
Joey Futures isn't bad. Hey, I did give you Bryce Harper 30-1 MVP. We locked that. We did do Verlander 25-1. This year is looking pretty good for some of the things we have already invested in. I keep coming back. I'm struggling with that question you asked me about Arise and Naylor. And it's because I play in so many points leagues where, Arise just kind of, dinks and doinks every single day. And by the end of the week, you look up and it's 15, 20 points.
Totally.
They're very, very close. That is very close. In Roto, I get it if you want to go and you want the, a little bit more power with Naylor. I get that.
Well, I don't. The guy's like top 6. He has like the 6th most. I think it's 6th or 7th most RBIs in the freaking league, or top 10 in the league.
I know, but he only has 26 runs scored. Well, it's not,
Yeah.
I know that's also indicative of how bad the offense has been, so I don't want to hang that all on Josh Naylor, because that's not fair anyway, because the rest of this offense has done ungats.
I think Josh Naylor has more stolen bases than Arise. Is that correct? I'm trying to pull it. I didn't have Josh Naylor's.
That I don't know. You'd have to check on that.
Because I think Arise has like 2 stolen bases, and well, before you move on, just so I don't have to come back. Yeah, Naylor has 5 stolen bases. He is winning 3 of the categories straight out, and he's also hitting 295. So yes,
and I've never been a big Luis Arise guy. I've been where you are, which is he's a nice kind of late filler kind of dude. What he's doing this year is very special.
It is
what he is, and I think when you took the shift away from him, it has really become apparent. It makes you wonder these last 5-10 years of Major League Baseball, what could have been had the shift not been there for a lot of hitters who fit more of this profile of Luis Arise, who ended up kind of getting, disregarded, overlooked, did not get opportunities maybe they should have gotten because they were good defenders and good contact hitters, but they didn't hit for a lot of power and they're out of baseball. If you go back and look historically in the 80s and 90s, there are a ton of Luis Arise kind of guys who played good defense, hit 5-10 home runs, but would hit 320, 315,
he's a throwback player.
Even.
No, he's 100% a throwback player. I just can't, at the end of the day, get it out of my mind that, he's a guy that his homers and stolen bases will probably be less than Josh Naylor's stolen base total. Josh Naylor will probably steal more bases than stolen bases and homers combined for Luis Arise, who is being anointed as a top 25 overall player. Just pointing out, Josh Naylor's been pretty damn good. That's all I'm going with.
Josh Naylor's been great.
He's a way better real life player than anything else.
Josh Naylor's been a better return on investment. Is that fair? Can I say that?
Sure.
Is that politically the best way for me to say this? He's been a better return on draft capital this year than Arise.
Yeah.
Sandy Alcantara has not been. He's also in the 3 down. We talked about him yesterday. I don't want to belabor the point. Just go back and watch yesterday's show. Christian Javier, Razor Ramon, is in the chat. He has said this 3 times, so I got to bring this up. But I was saving it because I had Javier down here in the 3 down section. 4 runs, 4 hits, 5 walks over 2 1/3 innings. Struck out 1 guy. Razor said Welsh convinced me that Javier was no good. And ever since then, he's been no good. So why is Javier all of a sudden no good?
I don't remember convincing anybody that he was no good.
He's been on this. He's been saying it several times in the chat here.
But I was taking a look yesterday at what's going on with him, because there was a big debate that was going on about his value. Eno versus Scott White. They were kind of going back and forth. Eno says he's moving him past 45 on SP, and Scott's keeping him in the 20s. The surface statty type of stuff, the ERA was fine. He's getting wins and stuff like that. But when you look behind, he's your statty. He's a 2-pitch pitcher. His slider has struggled. I was just kind of breaking this down if anybody saw me talking about this last night. His slider is in the zone. It's dying inside the zone. It also has 3 inches of less vertical break on it, or maybe it was horizontal. I think it was horizontal break, or no, vertical break. It doesn't matter either. One of them. I'm completely forgetting now. I don't have it in front of me, but 3 inches
Should I get you
less.
A protractor?
3 inches less of break on the slider, and that thing is less
that
effective.
happens as you get older, I heard.
Yeah, but the main point is it's these guys, these 2-pitch pitchers, are scarier. There's less wiggle room. They're not all DeGrom and Strider. Everyone anointed Javier as the next Spencer Strider. You've seen tick down, I think, at velocity. The slider itself has not been as effective, especially where it's hitting in the zone. And he's getting kind of beat up right now. I don't hate him. I think I'm getting confused with. I don't think he is the worst. There's just a lot less room for him to screw up here. So I'm not the biggest on Christian Javier, at least right now. But I also don't think he's the 45th pitcher in baseball.
I saw something floating around the internets about an hour before the show about Paul Goldschmidt trade rumors, which I thought was staggering.
Really?
Conceptually.
How about the Dbacks?
Wouldn't that be the irony of all ironies, right? But it does make some sense when you kind of start to look into it. I don't think it's going to happen, but I wanted to throw this out there for everybody. Who's the last reigning MVP to get traded? Because I want to see.
Wasn't it recent?
It's not that long ago. It's within the last. I'll give you a hint. It's within the last 10 years. So if you think you know the answer, drop it in the chat here over on our YouTube. And of course, subscribe to Fantasy Pros MLB. We're closing on a 14K, which means when we get the 14K subscriber mark, Welsh and I will have mustaches for an entire show, start to finish. But yeah, this was I couldn't believe it. I'm like, how often does that happen? And of course, I did my homework and I found last time it happened. It's not that long ago.
It's pissing me off because I feel like I know who it is. Do I know who it is? You do.
Oh, yeah. He's still playing right now in the major leagues. So
it's not.
Let's see if
it's not Donaldson.
No, it's not Donaldson. He wasn't the reigning MVP. He was an MVP who did get traded not that long after. No, Wonky, it is not Justin Verlander. But let's do, in the meantime, some prize picking. What do you say, Welsh? You want to pick some prizes? Let's do it. Use that promo code leading off. Go to PrizePicks.com or download the app and get that 100% deposit match up to $100, but only when you use that promo code leading off. One word, leading off. Welsh, pick some prizes.
Promo code leading off Prize Picks. Do it. Do it or else.
We have the answer. Brett Anderson. Giancarlo Stanton in 2017 won the MVP and it was traded to the Yankees directly after. There you go.
Was he
Good
still
job.
Mike? But did he win it when he was Mike?
No, I think he was Giancarlo by then. He was only Mike for like a year or two, and it took me another year or two to stop calling him Mike. Which is,
I have always, one of the funniest things is these guys that have name changes either way, like first or like, I don't know if people know Trent Grisham was actually Trent Clark. That was his name. And like you see baseball cards that say Mike Stanton.
Well, everybody who's named Mookie was never Mookie at one point. But
yeah, we can get back into the Mookie discussion.
That that should have been my nickname, but I'm too old to be Mookie now.
Mookie Pizapia? Ooh, that doesn't sound very good. I don't like that.
Sound good
that does
all.
not
That
sound
sounds
good
like
at
some
all.
sort of condition you have. Like, oh god, I've got a real Mookie Pizapia.
Yeah,
I'm on meds. I'm hoping like for the next 2 weeks I can get out of bed. But
be like, oh no, did you hear? There's some Mookie. Pizapia's got Mookie. Is he okay?
No, it's like I had to take off work. I got a Mookie Pizapia.
I think I should bleep that in the edit. I might bleep that in the podcast. A Mookie Pizapia doesn't sound right. All right, Prize Picks. Promo code leading off. Use it. I am going with 5. This is an all hitter fantasy score play today. Fernando Tatis, 8.5. Boom. Wander Franco, 8. Boom. Julio Rodriguez, 8. Yes. Boom. Those are my 3 plays for Prize Picks. It's a lot of boom. It's the boom play. That's what we're calling it today. This is the boom line. I want to name all of my lineups. I want to have the haters ball, the haters sandwich. This is called the boom. 3 straight hitters, fantasy score all up. You
know what I think, Welsh? I think that a Mookie Pizapia, and someone said this in the chat, is what you have when you eat the Mets lasagna.
Oh, 100%.
From AI.
I'm going to tell you right now, whoever's on the right, Francisco Alvarez has got the Mookie Pizapia. His eye is sewn shut.
It's like a
his stomach, his chest and stomach is closing in on itself. His eye is just shutting down. He's got the Mookie Pizapia.
Oh man, that is not good. That lasagna will definitely give you the Mookie Pizapia.
Oh man.
AI is gross. All right, for me, prize picking, Shane McClanahan, 7 pitcher strikeouts over today against Kansas City. They strike out a ton. Blake Snell is going against the Giants. I'm going to go under the 7 here. And I know he's been at 12 a bunch, so I'm going to go play the odds. But again, I am ice cold, so I need to break out of this in the worst way. Wander Franco, I know he was bad yesterday, but again, 8 hitter fantasy score. I'm going to go over in today's matchup for him. Betting-wise today, I'm going to stay in that Tampa game. I'm going to try to get a nice 3-1, take advantage of a good situation for them against the Royals with Huas on the mound. Huas! I believe it's Al Pacino's son. Which, by the way, did you see Al Pacino just had a kid? He's like 87 years old. He just had a kid. Him and De Niro.
What's the record? What's the record for the oldest
Charlie Chaplin
person?
had a kid when he was like 90, I think, or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, but he was too old to pick him up.
That's crazy. He didn't tell anybody either. He's like,
but it's crazy. Here we go. Shane McClanahan, 7.5 strikeouts. Take the over. You take the 1.5 on the run line for the Tampa Bay Rays because I think they're going to win this game pretty handily against the Royals today.
Okay, so it's the same game parlay. Okay.
Same game parlay, and Randy Arozarena to record a hit. These should all 3 be layups. 1.5. Shane McClanahan, 7.5 over on the K's, and Randy Arozarena to record a hit. If you put those 3 things together, you get 3-1. You put a unit on that. That's a nice day. That's a good return. That's my focused Thursday bet because there's a lot of day games again today. 2 days in a row, a lot of day games. So not a lot of night games to figure out. What do you have on the betting side today, Welsh?
All right, I got weird stuff. I got kind of weird today. I was looking around, just, you finding the... I'm in that same game. I like the team total runs. So the whole game 4.5. Just 4.5. That's all that I want. Runs 4.5 over for the Rays. I like that. It's a little juiced. And then I went to look. You guys know I love to play first 5 bets if I can find team total runs or if I can find the line. And I didn't like the total runs because I wanted to play with the total runs in this one. I didn't like it through the first 5 because it was only 4. But if you go to the first 3 innings and you get 2.5, I'm playing the under on this one. This is Sears and Logan Allen, both pretty decent. And I can go under 2.5 runs through the first 3 innings. That is a play that I want to jump on, and I think it's decently priced as well because everything else was crappy priced. So, again, Rays team total on the whole game, 4.5. Cleveland, Oakland, team total runs, first 3 innings, 2.5 under. Thank you very much.
There you go. Al Pacino, 83 years old. I'm just looking at it now. Just had a kid. His wife, I think, is, I don't know, she's like 29 or something crazy like that. And then you have Robert De Niro, who just had his 7th child, and he is 79 years old. So there you go. I'm sorry. Pacino is not his wife. His 29-year-old girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, I'm not saying, who am I to say? Because I don't have that thrown at me. But, I would even be like, 29-year-old might be a little too young for me. And I'm 40. I'd be like, oh, that's a pretty big age gap. Like, what do they have to talk about?
What do they talk about?
What do they talk about? He's like,
you see this reel on the Instagram? It was so good.
Honey, you got to get up on the bed.
Honey, what are you doing on the TikToks? I want to see the videos. I got all sorts of videos all over the place.
I like the envision of him being like telling old stories. Like, I had this movie in the 60s. And she's just
she's like, well.
She's on TikTok.
When I was in a dog day afternoon. She's like, what? I don't even understand.
I robbed this bank.
I had a lover, and I was robbing banks. It was cinema. That's what
Dog Day Afternoon, by the way, is like a classic. You guys got to go watch old Pacino stuff.
Old Pacino movies and Justice for All. That one.
2
Serpico,
suggestions. Go watch old
movies.
Pacino, 60, 70, 80s movies, and then if you want to kind of the balance of some of the darkness, you go watch the old Steve Martin stuff, like The Jerk and Three Amigos. That's a great
not make
cinema
The Jerk
way.
nowadays. The Jerk and Blazing Saddles. Watch those movies and just sit there and go, my God, what a different universe we lived in the 70s. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much the big takeaway from that. But yeah, I don't that's the thing. What do they talk about? I have no idea. We're not going to talk about DFS because, like I said, there's 3 games tonight. No main slate for the sake of everybody else who listens to the show back. We're not going to waste your time, but we are going to go ahead and talk about home runs. So, Welsh, who are you calling for your home run call tonight?
I'm going to go. I don't think I've picked him. Maybe I picked him once this entire year. But I think we're in a due situation for Mr. Julio Rodriguez. We got Domingo Germán.
I picked him yesterday, and I almost picked him again today. I was going to let it ride.
I'm glad you didn't. Yeah. So, give me Julio Rodriguez on the bounce back against Domingo Germán. Fastball pitcher in, him take it out. Julio is my home run call. I'm a little cold on the. I don't think I've called a home run for 2 weeks, so I need to get back on the board.
Yeah. I don't know how old De Niro's girlfriend or wife or whatever is, but 29 and 83. I mean, that's absurd.
But people are starting to quote the jerk. The jerk is, if everyone knows, is one of my favorite. They're quoting stuff in the chat right now, which is my favorite.
People forget in Blazing Saddles, originally Richard Pryor was supposed to play the lead, and Richard Pryor wrote the movie with Mel Brooks. So all those jokes in there that are a cringe, quote unquote. Those are Richard Pryor jokes because he's trying to hold a mirror up and say, "Hey, let's laugh a little bit." And but he was at the time too toxic for that movie to put him in the movie as the lead. But there you go. So good stuff there. For me, I'm gonna go with Wander Franco. I'm gonna stick there. Hopefully, make some money with the Wander. He's wonderful. He's marvelous. Home run leaderboard today. Bada boom. Razor still at the top at 27. Yep. Tater 25. Garlic, which I think. Wasn't Carlique? I think that's a character
it's
from
Carly
Zoolander.
K, but just
no, it's Carlique.
Okay,
you can Carlique. It's like derelict, right?
What
I caught myself. I almost said it.
I mean, I was about to.
But you don't see that.
Carlique, that Mookie piece of pia.
We suggest, and then we let your mind do the rest. That's what the greats do. Again, be one of the greats. Join our Discord, fantasypros.com/chat, and go premium by either dropping a comment below, subscribing to the YouTube channel, or just go to fantasypros.com/premium today. That's what you do. You get the best of all the tools to manage your rosters, make some trades, do what you have to do, and I'll take you through football season as well. That is around the corner also. So fun show today. We got into some things I did not think we'd get to. I'm surprised by your knowledge of old 70s Pacino movies. Once again, I'm super impressed, Welsh, with you.
Oh, I mean, come on. I know some stuff. I might look like a big stupid idiot, but I don't always play the big stupid idiot. I know some stuff, especially film.
And at the end of the day, you are Hollywood.
I am Hollywood, right? I saw Bogman in the chat, by the way. The famous Scott Bogman was in the chat. That was his nickname he gave to me. Hollywood, and David Flair was the other one. David Flair. Woo! I watched, by the way, we got brought this up in the CBS. We were talking to Brian Woo with Ric Flair. I had never seen the famous woo off from NX, no, from T, no, whatever the.
It was from TNA, I think.
Whatever it is. And Chris Towers sent me it, and I watched it last night, and you just forget just the insanity that is Ric Flair, and the famous woo-off video was, it made my night. So
Cody wants to know. Chat's been amazing today, by the way. Just shout out to all the Peanuts and Cracker Jacks. And again, if you haven't joined us live on YouTube, please do. Cody wants to know who's going to win Money in the Bank. Ironically, we just did our first Betting Pros wrestling video, and I did talk about that. So go check that out.
Trish Stratus?
I want LA Knight to win, but the problem is that we never get what we want when it comes to Money in the Bank and things like LA Knight getting himself over. I think it's going to be Damian Priest. That's where the money is, but the heart is with LA Knight. With the women, I haven't decided. I think it's Io, but there you go. So on that note, we're going to get out. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Hollywood, I'm Joey Futures. We'll see you next time, kids.
Woo!